You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
Ever wished you could rebuild your network from scratch to make it more secure, scalable, and simple? Meet Meter, the company reimagining enterprise networking from the ground up. Meter builds full-stack, zero-trust networks, including hardware, firmware, and software, all designed to work seamlessly together. The result? Fast, reliable, and secure connectivity without the constant patching, vendor juggling, or hidden costs. From wired and wireless to routing, switching, firewalls, DNS security, and VPN, every layer is integrated and continuously protected in one unified platform. And since it's delivered as one predictable monthly service, you skip the heavy capital costs and endless upgrade cycles. Meter even buys back your old infrastructure to make switching effortless. Transform complexity into simplicity and give your team time to focus on what really matters, helping your business and customers thrive. Learn more and book your demo at meter.com/cyberwire. That's meter.com/cyberwire. Hewlett-Packard patches a maximum severity vulnerability in its OneView infrastructure management software. Cisco warns a critical zero-day is under active exploitation. An emergency Chrome update fixes 2 high-severity vulnerabilities. French authorities make multiple arrests. U.S. authorities dismantle an unlicensed crypto exchange. SonicWall highlights an exploited zero-day. Researchers earn $320,000 for demonstrating critical remote code execution flaws in cloud infrastructure. A U.S. senator urges electronic health record vendors to give patients greater control over who can access their medical data. Our guest is Larry Zorio, CISO from Mark 43, discussing first responders and insider cyber risks. And a Right to Repair group puts cash on the table. It's Thursday, December 18th, 2025. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Thanks for joining us here today. It's great to have you with us. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise has released patches for a maximum severity vulnerability in its OneView infrastructure management software that allows remote code execution by unauthenticated attackers. The flaw affects all OneView versions prior to version 11 and can be exploited through low-complexity code injection attacks. The issue was reported by a Vietnamese security researcher and disclosed in an HPE advisory warning that no mitigations or workarounds are available. Organizations are urged to patch immediately. HPE says customers can remediate the issue by upgrading to OneView 11 or later, or by applying specific security hotfixes for other versions. HPE has not confirmed any active exploitation of the vulnerability. Cisco has warned that a China-linked threat group is actively exploiting a critical zero-day, affecting Cisco Async OS-based Secure Email Gateway and Secure Email and Web Manager appliances. The flaw allows unauthenticated attackers to execute commands with root privileges. Cisco Talos discovered the activity and attributed it, with moderate confidence, to a Chinese state-sponsored actor tracked as UAT 9686. The campaign uses multiple backdoors and tunneling tools. No patch or workaround is currently available, and CISA has added the flaw to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. Google has released an emergency Chrome update fixing 2 high-severity vulnerabilities that could allow remote code execution. The flaws include a use-after-free bug in the web GPU component and an out-of-bounds read and write issue in the V8 JavaScript engine. Google has patched the issues, and users are strongly urged to update immediately, including those running Chromium-based browsers such as Edge, Brave, Opera, and Vivaldi. French authorities have been busy. They arrested a 22-year-old suspect in connection with a cyber attack on France's Interior Ministry that compromised multiple email accounts and confidential documents. Officials say the breach, claimed on breach forums, exposed files related to judicial records and wanted persons, with attackers inside the network for several days. No ransom demand was made, and authorities say public safety was not endangered. Prosecutors allege the suspect acted as part of an organized group and note prior convictions for similar offenses. French authorities have arrested 2 crew members of an Italian passenger ferry after malware capable of remote access was found aboard the vessel. A Bulgarian national was released without charge, while a Latvian crew member remains detained and faces charges of conspiring to infiltrate computer systems on behalf of a foreign power. The malware was discovered while the ferry was docked and was neutralized without impact. Officials say the investigation involves suspected foreign interference and is ongoing in coordination with Italian authorities. U.S. authorities have dismantled eNote, an unlicensed cryptocurrency exchange accused of laundering more than $70 million in illicit proceeds for cybercriminals. The FBI, working with European and U.S. partners, seized servers, domains, and apps used by the service, which allegedly helped ransomware groups and other criminals convert stolen cryptocurrency into harder-to-trace assets. Prosecutors unsealed charges against 39-year-old Russian national Mikhailo Petrovich Chudnovets, accused of operating eNotes and offering laundering services for over a decade. He faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted and remains at large. Officials say the takedown targets the financial infrastructure that enables cybercrime, not just individual attackers. SonicWall has warned that attackers are exploiting a zero-day vulnerability in the Secure Mobile Access 1000 appliance management console. The medium-severity flaw allows local privilege escalation and has been used alongside a previously disclosed bug to achieve unauthenticated remote code execution with root privileges. The issue has been patched in recent hotfixes, and CISA has added it to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, urging rapid remediation and mitigations where patching is delayed. The inaugural zero-day cloud hacking competition in London awarded researchers $320,000 for demonstrating critical remote code execution flaws in cloud infrastructure components. Hosted by Wiz Research with Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, and Google Cloud, the event focused exclusively on cloud systems. Across 13 sessions, researchers succeeded in 85% of attempts, uncovering 11 zero-day vulnerabilities. Day 1 awards totaled $200,000 for exploits targeting Redis, PostgreSQL, Grafana, and the Linux kernel, including a container escape flaw that broke cloud tenant isolation. Day 2 added $120,000 for database exploits involving Redis, PostgreSQL, and MariaDB. Team Xint Code won the competition with 3 successful exploits, earning $90,000. Despite the results, most of the $4.5 million prize pool went unclaimed, with no successful exploits against Kubernetes, Docker, major web servers, or AI targets. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon is urging U.S. electronic health record vendors to give patients greater control over who can access their medical data, framing the issue as both a privacy and national security concern. His push comes as regulators more aggressively enforce data interoperability rules under the 21st Century Cures Act, which aim to improve data sharing while allowing exceptions for privacy and cybersecurity. Wyden contacted 10 major EHR vendors calling for direct control features for patients. He warned that widespread data sharing increases risks of misuse, citing past Defense Department findings. Epic responded that it is developing new MyChart features to let patients opt out of sharing, hide records, track access, and manage preferences for sensitive care. Coming up after the break, Larry Zorio from Mark 43 discusses first responders and insider cyber threats, and a Right to Repair group puts cash on the table. What's your 2 a.m. security worry? Is it, do I have the right controls in place? Maybe, are my vendors secure? Or the one that really keeps you up at night, how do I get out from under these old tools and manual processes? That's where Vanta comes in. Vanta automates the manual work so you can stop sweating over spreadsheets, chasing audit evidence, and filling out endless questionnaires. Their trust management platform continuously monitors your systems, centralizes your data, and simplifies your security at scale. And it fits right into your workflows, using AI to streamline evidence collection, flag risks, and keep your program audit ready, all the time. With Vanta, you get everything you need to move faster, scale confidently, and finally, get back to sleep. Get started at vanta.com/cyber. That's VANTA.com/cyber.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. You're ready to move your business forward, but first, you need to find the right team. Start your search with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It can help you reach qualified candidates fast, ensuring your listing is the first one they see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs are 90% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. See the results for yourself. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Larry Zorio is CISO from Mark 43. We're discussing first responders sounding the alarm on insider cyber risks.
Well, we put it out every year, and every year it has different themes. Every year we typically focus on different cybersecurity trends. We actually do a lot of tracking ourselves with different trends we see in the industry, especially breaches and attacks on government agencies. So this year was definitely focused. There was definitely a focus on AI, which I'm sure you definitely know that. Also access management. So this was this is something we do every year, Dave.
Well, I mean, let's dig in here. The focus is public safety. What are some of the specific issues that folks in that part of the world have to deal with?
I would like to just start, especially for your listeners, just to kind of level set with them. There are a lot of things that public safety agencies struggle with cybersecurity. I think we're all used to seeing movies and TV shows with very advanced technology, following the dot around the screen, sitting in different security operations centers.
Right.
But that is really only for the top tier of public safety agencies. Many of these agencies are struggling with similar things that small businesses are struggling with. They're struggling with technology, budgets, a lot of old legacy systems. They're struggling with people, trying to recruit and retain talent in the cybersecurity industry. So many challenges in this space, and some of them have come out in our trends report this year.
Well, let's dig into the report. What were some of the key findings that caught your eye?
A near total majority, 98% of law enforcement believe that cybersecurity is an important part of evaluating technology. I thought that was interesting because if you were to ask that question 5 years ago, I think you would get a totally different answer, because 5 years ago, public safety was very much, they wanted things on-prem. They wanted to be in charge of their systems. They knew how to protect their systems in their data centers. I think what this stat is telling us is they understand that they need to level up. They understand that they need to start leveraging modern technology, and they know that cybersecurity needs to be a piece of that. So that was the near majority was an interesting one for me.
Yeah, one of the things that caught my eye was the concerns about insider threats. Can you dig into that a little bit for us?
It's the public safety. We're talking police. We're talking fire. We're talking EMTs. We're talking even like the federal agencies. They are dealing with such sensitive information. We're talking FBI data. We're talking warrants, arrest records. In these records, there is the potential for very private information. There is even some cases there's medical information in there. So agencies understand that this is so sensitive, and they have a lot of legacy systems, Dave, that just don't give them what we would consider and your audience would consider just like it's table stakes, right? Like the role-based access control. A lot of them are struggling with that. They're struggling even with like zero trust, this thing that's been around for many years. So it was interesting to see, the responders come back that way with, more a good majority of them are worried about it, and they know that it needs to be something they got to focus on.
Well, you mentioned access control. What did you learn when it comes to that?
There's a couple things that we've learned actually from that. I mean, it's definitely we're seeing them respond, with the 65%. We've seen in past trends reports them respond to how much they're struggling, even with just, again, for your listeners, Dave, they're struggling with multi-factor authentication. These are old legacy systems, and they're finally starting to modernize, and they're now being pushed and required through different compliance standards that they have to follow to roll out MFA. And it's either a technology struggle, which I spoke to earlier, or it's a people struggle. Like, we would love to roll out MFA, but we don't have the personnel to do it. So I think it's just important for folks like myself that are in this industry that can help to educate and be there to help them in that space. The other thing I'll mention too, Dave, outside of MFA, we've learned that even these legacy systems, they don't even have the granularity that you're looking for, like in an activity report, right? To be able to see what people are doing in the systems themselves. So it's another reason why modernization is so important.
Can you give us an idea of the range of systems that we're talking about and the functions? I guess top of mind for me is something like a 911 call center, where obviously downtime is the last thing you want. But I'm sure there's a lot more to it than most of us think about.
You hit the nail on the head with the 911 system, right? That is one of the absolute core critical infrastructures that public safety is using. So those systems, there's the 911 call taking system. There's also what's called a computer aided dispatch system. That's kind of, if you ever see a picture of a 911 environment, a dispatch center, you see all these screens, and typically they're the call taking systems. They're the computer aided dispatch systems. So there's that piece of it, but then there's also what's called records management systems, RMS, and that is basically where they live and breathe for 80-90% of the day. It's where they're writing up all their arrests. They're filling out forms for warrants. They're doing all their research. Detectives are going in there looking at different evidence. This all happens in an RMS. So those are kind of the big core ones. Then you have things like license plate reader systems that have been making the headlines recently, and some analytics software as well. That's very, very important to these public safety officials.
We were talking about insider threats and also AI, and I know that's a big concern for a lot of organizations that employees may be using AI. We refer to it as shadow AI. And when you're talking about this sort of sensitive information, that could be a real big problem.
It is a real big problem. It's something that I talk to a lot of public safety agencies about for many different reasons. In some cases, they're just looking for guidance. They're looking for guidance from, it could be from the state or even the city level. What are we allowed and not allowed to do? So there's definitely that side of it. I know that a lot of states are starting to make progress. The federal government's starting to make progress in that area to give them the frameworks. Many of them are aware that they are using these shadow IT, these shadow AI tools, and they are concerned about it. We're talking to them about how they can lock it down, certainly try to keep it within the boundaries of those RMS systems and those CAD systems. And some of those providers are starting to now offer AI technologies that can really kind of bring everything back into the core systems and give these leaders a bit more control over where the data is going to go.
Is there a big gap between the haves and the have-nots when it comes to communities that are able to fund these sorts of efforts?
There definitely is. Your big cities are, thankfully, they're going to be able to have big cybersecurity teams, and that's great. But it's also shocking in some cases that big cities that we're all aware of, they're still struggling. They are still struggling, Dave. So with kind of your bigger agencies, they might have a team. They could have a team of 100 cybersecurity professionals, which is wonderful, and that's great. But if you're in your local town agency, you're lucky if they even have an IT manager, and that's it. So it very much is a have and a have-nots in this space. We do talk around, especially with those smaller agencies. A lot of states are actually offering these smaller agencies services. So we're talking to them about, hey, go talk to your state officials. There are some tooling and some services that you can get out of the state as well.
Well, based on the information that you all gathered in the report here, what are your recommendations? How should these organizations go about best protecting themselves?
I think it really all comes down to, and I talk about this a lot, Dave, and for your listeners, this is going to sound very obvious, but I talk to a lot of agencies about just settling on a framework that you want to follow. Like whether it's NIST or ISO or CIS, like just find one that works for your agency. We put out a lot of documentation around this for them. And what that can then do is it gives them a comfort level that they can build a roadmap. They can build a plan over the next 2, 3, even 5 years of some of the things that they need to work on, some of the controls they need to put in place. Funding is a really big issue. Budgets, funding, finding dollars. But having that framework then allows them to go to town leadership, city leadership, state leadership and say, hey, we do have a plan. And the great thing about it is this plan actually maps to some of the state regulations we have, some of the federal regulations we have. And then the other great thing about that, Dave, is once they have that, they can actually then go for grants because there are a lot of great grant programs out there for these agencies. They just don't necessarily know how to go grab that money. And having a framework, having a plan can really help with that.
That's Larry Zorio from Mark 43.
Oh, Hilton, stay. Your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton, stay. A holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
The Who's down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
And finally, a small nonprofit with a long memory and a short tolerance for corporate lock-ins is paying people to answer an awkward question. When you buy a device, how much of it is actually yours? Freedom from Unethical Limitations on Users, or FULU, runs bounties not for security bugs, but for proof that abandoned or restricted hardware can still be made to work. The effort gained momentum after Google retired support for early Nest thermostats, leaving owners with expensive wall ornaments that still worked locally but had quietly lost their smart. FULU now offers cash rewards for fixes that bypass DRM, expired software support, or parts pairing schemes. Targets include filter-locked appliances, disk drive encryption in game consoles, and other features that seem designed to outlive warranties, not usefulness. The irony is that fixing these devices can violate U.S. copyright law. FULU pays anyway. The group's point is not just to revive gadgets, but to highlight how a decades-old law now stands between ownership and permission. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our CyberWire producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Trey Hester with original music by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Eiben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. Mm-hmm. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.